Good morning, wake and takers. What is going on? A couple minutes late today. Apologies about that. Day job got the best of me right now. But welcome in. It is Thursday, October 30th. I am Justin, your host, the Lord O Games. And it is, like I said, Thursday, October 30th. It's the day before Halloween. It's spooky season. Kind of the last day of last 2 days of spooky season here. So hopefully you guys are prepped, ready to go, candy locked and loaded, children ready to be running around door to door, getting all of the candy that they possibly can, and then you stashing it away so you can eat it later so they don't eat all that sugar. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience. But how are we doing, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. I was able to keep my voice through the Tuesday show and through Wednesday to get here today. I did it. The voice feels almost all the way back. I still can't quite get as loud as I'd like to, but it's back. We're here. Start sits, my favorite show of the week. Love doing it with you guys. Love coming in and just talking about the week ahead. I mean, not quite the bye-apocalypse. We only got 4 teams on bye this week. So nothing too crazy right now. Let's see, who do we got on bye? We got Cleveland, the Jets, Philadelphia, and Tampa. So some big heavy hitters in there, but overall not nearly as bad as the bye-apocalypse last week. And we got some great games. We got some great games coming up, starting with Thursday. I think tonight is going to be, it's either going to be a really disappointing game or it's going to be a really, really fun game with Baltimore going down into Miami. I mean, how can it not be fun? Lamar's back. Lamar is back. The long-awaited return is back. Jamie, good morning. How we doing? But yeah, for Thursday Night Football, we get Lamar back, which means we should have Zay Flowers back, which means Derrick Henry is going to get revenge on the Miami Dolphins for what they did to Bijan Robinson and running backs in general. He's going to go ahead and go back to getting a 30-point game tonight. I feel it. I feel Derrick Henry. It's King Henry time. I can tell you, living in Florida, we dipped down into the sub 60-degree weather this morning. So that sounds like perfect Yeti warm-up weather here for Derrick Henry. And honestly, if you need tight end help right now, I'd even start a Mandrews or an Isaiah Likely. I think that Baltimore wants to get back on track. They need to make a push here. So they need to get Lamar flowing. They need to get this offense back into a groove with Lamar as quickly as possible. And I think the way you do that is by putting up points. And I think that we're going to go ahead and see that down in Miami here. On the Miami side, there's nothing like, it's tough to expect back-to-back good performances out of Tua, so we could see an absolute stinker. But at the end of the day, you have to stick with the plan in Miami in terms of fantasy football, which is Achane, Waddle, you start them. That's it. Don't even ask. No Malik Washington. No, I can't even remember the 2 tight ends right now. It was Dulcich and who got 0 targets and someone else. So it is time to just stick with the plan in Miami. And like I said, you're firing up all of your Ravens right now. Starting off quick with some questions. I love it. Let's get it going. Jelly of the month. Good morning. Your tight end is Otten on bye and Hunter Henry, who is the worst tight end matchup versus Atlanta. Going to be talking about Hunter Henry a little bit later. Stream Loveland, Jawan Johnson, or Theo Johnson, PPR, and massive underdog. I want to go like with a Jawan Johnson because of the fact that like he probably has the safest targets, but we are flipping the switch to Tyler Shuck. So that was Spencer Rattler that was feeding Johnson. Does Shuck do the same? I don't know. You actually brought up 2 names that I'm going to be talking about later. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in this one here, and we'll get to it later. But I would go with Loveland. Spoiler alert. I'm going to go with Loveland on that one there. The Mask, good morning. Toughest week for you. Mediocre depth, PPR 2 flex league. Zay Flowers at first flex, absolutely. Warren at tight end, need a second flex and an RB2 between Tyrone Tracy, Vidal, ETN, Chase Brown, Kraft, and Worthy. Kraft is an easy plug in the second flex. And honestly, I'm going to go between Vidal and ETN. Let me check my own rankings real quick. Let me see who I did plug in there because that's a good one. That is a good one. It's between Vidal and ETN for me. I think you got to go ETN. Coming out of the bye, we know that the Jacksonville Jaguars offense runs best when ETN gets going. So I'm going to have to go. I just want to double check and confirm against my rankings here real quick. Yeah. I'm going to go with, I got ETN and Vidal back to back at RB 13-14. So really both got good matchups. I just think that coming out of the bye, Travis Etienne they're going to establish the run for Jacksonville. And I think you gotta stick with that. I know it's been ugly, but he's had some tough matchups. And honestly, like I said, the Jacksonville offense doesn't run if they're not literally running the ball. So I'm going to go with ETN there, and you got to start Tucker Kraft. There's no way you can bench Tucker Kraft after what he did last week and what he's going to do. He's got a plus matchup this week, if I remember correctly. Green Bay is up against Carolina. It's not a plus matchup, but still, oh no, it is a plus matchup. Yeah, Carolina's one of the better defenses to target for tight end, and I mean Tucker Kraft. I don't know how you bench him right now, especially since Chase Brown might not have Joe Flacco. With no Flacco, I'm not trusting Chase Brown. So I'm definitely going Kraft in their second flex, and then Travis Etienne in your RB2 slot. We got Barkevius. Do I flex Waddle today over Devontae Adams and Pittman? I have Amon-Ra and Puka as well. I think you go ahead and flex him over Pittman. While Pittman does have an amazing matchup here, I do think that we could see Indy just lean on Jonathan Taylor like they have. We could get a shootout and Pittman could be the better option here, but I think Waddle is just locked in as a target here. And I mean, while Pittman has a good matchup, Waddle has a better matchup. He's at home too. So I think I'm not going to put him over Adams, but I would put him over Pittman for sure. Not for sure, but I'm leaning that way. So I mean, great wide receiver room right there. So honestly, even if Waddle doesn't do as good as Pittman, it's not going to kill you, it seems, with Amon-Ra and Puka. So I would go with Waddle over Pittman for sure. Jelly, waivers brutal. Shutout on Tracy, Bam, Spears, and Kareem Hunt. Oof. Do I like Isaiah Davis or Emmanuel Davis as a bench stash? I lean Isaiah Davis just because there are still the trade rumors with Breece Hall out there. So I would lean Isaiah because if there's real action that could happen and you're not just waiting for an injury to happen. And honestly, Isaiah's been getting some independent work as well, kind of mixing in as a breather back for Breece. So I would go with Isaiah there for sure. God, I missed this. I was so upset when I had to miss the Thursday show last week, but man, I'm so happy to be back for this. I love the interaction. I love you guys bringing the questions. It just like I said, it makes the show so much more fun. So I appreciate that. Before we get into the news, just going to go ahead and do the usual. Going to go ahead and let you know. Follow me over at Twitter, X at @JOwens_FF to go ahead and make sure that you're keeping up with all of the random tidbits that pop into my brain. Been ramping up my posts there as well as on TikTok at @JOwensFF. Just been ramping up both sides of that, trying to get everything flowing as we hit the middle of the season here. So again, over on Twitter, we have the _ at @JOwens_FF. Over on TikTok, it's just at @JOwensFF. And I am still doing the Sunday live show. It always goes live at halftime of Sunday Night Football over on TikTok. It's called The Throne Room. Lordo Games in the Throne Room. We're doing instant reactions to every Sunday game and the Thursday game, and even what's going on in the Sunday Night Football game at halftime, and then looking forward to the Monday game. So go ahead and jump in there for a little bit of extra content, a little bit of extra me in your week. But yeah, like I said, we already talked about the Thursday night game where we're back. We're back. Lamar is back, and the Baltimore Ravens needed it. Our fantasy teams needed it. Zay Flowers talked about him on Tuesday. Just wait. We're gonna see here. First week back with Lamar, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it all the way through the end of the season with Zay Flowers here. Jamie, you got a parlay. Lamar over 25 rush yards. Achane 50+ rush. Henry touchdown. Malik Washington 25+. Ravens money line total over 49.5. Jordan, I'm not going to comment on defensive tackle and assist parlays because those are tough to nail down. Ollie Gordon touchdown for +55. I like the Ollie Gordon touchdown. Is that his there's no way his anytime touchdown is plus 5,500, right? Oh, add an Ollie Gordon touchdown for 5,500 yards. I don't think I would add it to the parlay. I would maybe take that as a separate anytime. But I feel like that's just a tough one to add into the parlay. It does juice up the odds quite a bit, but I feel like that would be the hardest one to hit. I am a little bit afraid also of the Lamar rushing yards over, just because is he going to run so much coming fresh off of the injury? I think he waited long enough, and they took that extra week last week to be extra cautious. So I think we should see it. You did two separate parlays, one with that and then one added the Ollie Gordon. I like that. So really the only thing that I'm a little bit afraid of is the over might not, just because, I mean, we've seen Tua and we've seen the Miami Dolphins just be a dumpster fire. So I'm afraid of banking on Miami 2 weeks in a row. But I like that. I think that's going to be a fun one. That'll be a fun one to watch. I'm going to go ahead and be rooting for you on that one. But I like that. Again, my only fear is the Lamar like hamstring injury maybe has him not rushing as much, especially if they get out to an early lead. Does he have to run so much? I don't know, but everything else looked pretty good there. I'll be jumping up and down if we get that Ollie Gordon touchdown. Both bad defense. I agree. And Thursday night games have hit the over like almost every single time. Like they've been smashing the overs on Thursday night football. So I agree with you. I just, like I said, I lived in Miami. I got a bunch of friends that are Miami Dolphins fans, and it's hard to believe in the Dolphins, especially when they showed out last week. Like, can they do it? Can Tua really do it 2 times in a row? But I think Baltimore can carry the load in terms of points, even if Miami can't get it done. So I think you're in a good spot with that. It'll be fun to watch. Good luck on that one. But going to go ahead and start jumping into the news. I was late on you guys, so I'm not going to dilly-dally as much as I normally do. But let's go ahead and take a peek ski at the news. Got a lot of people returning from injuries. We got a lot of people coming back to practices, and then a lot of people randomly missing practices. Again, what I have to work with is the Tuesday, Wednesday practice reports. So those aren't really the most confident building in terms of like what your projection is for the end of the week. But I always try to give you guys who to keep an eye on, so that way when it is today's practice reports, tomorrow's, Saturdays, you kind of see like you're looking out for specific names and specific teams to be checking on. But first up, we got Michael Penix and Drake London both returned to practice in a limited fashion. So, it's not like, oh, they're fully back. But I do expect, especially how bad the offense looked last week without the two of them, I definitely expect Penix and London both to be out there. The NFC South is open. I know that the Bucs are kind of running away with it, but it's not a done deal. Buccaneers are beat up. And honestly, a push from either Carolina or Atlanta would be interesting. It would make things interesting. So I don't think Atlanta's throwing in the towel quite yet. So I expect to see Penix and London both back out there. But again, keep an eye on the practice reports. If we see Kirk Cousins back out there, it might get a little bit ugly again. Jaden Reed for the Green Bay Packers. His window might be opening here soon. He was spotted working off to the side of practice on Wednesday, which, I mean, for a dude that had surgery and all that, I feel like he's coming back. He's coming back mighty quick. He's got that dog in him. So he's always going to be pushing to come back as fast as he can. And you know what? He took care of 2 injuries at one time. So, if he's coming back, he's going to be feeling good. But at the end of the day, for fantasy, he's not going to be much more except for like a desperation flex DFS type dart throw, because of the fact that there's just so many wide receivers and pass catchers in Green Bay, and Jordan Love spreads it. Like each game, it's like someone different who has the good game, and you just never know. It's so hard to predict. So in terms of Jaden Reed coming back, does he really help you for fantasy? If you're desperate, sure. For the Carolina Panthers, who I just talked about a little bit there, Andy Dalton ended up missing practice with a thumb injury, and Bryce Young was back as a full participant. I thought we might see one more week of Andy Dalton, just because a high ankle sprain for Bryce Young, and then going into Green Bay, I thought we were going to see one more week here of Andy Dalton, but it looks like it's going to be flip-flop. It looks like they're soft benching Andy Dalton and bringing Bryce Young back to lead this team. It's going to be tough sledding up against Green Bay, but hopefully Bryce Young can understand the game plan is get the ball out quick. And honestly, Green Bay's been good against the running back, but I think that we're going to see a little bit more reliance on the run while the game script is even. I'm going to talk about this game a little bit later as well for some starts and sit action. Like I said, normally we have like the Tuesday, Wednesday practice reports, so there's no definitive answer on whether a guy will play or will not play, but that is not the case here for Terry McLaurin. Pain for fantasy managers and pain for Terry McLaurin. Dude can't stay healthy right now. He re-aggravated the hamstring injury that kept him out for 4 weeks, 5 weeks at the beginning, in the middle of the season here. Re-aggravated against Kansas City on Monday Night Football, and he has already been ruled out for week 9. Appreciate the team at least ruling him out, but if they're ruling him out now, and from what I'm reading, it's either at the same level as the first re-injury or even worse than that. So I expect to be without Terry McLaurin for a long time. At best, we get him back for the playoffs. And then is anyone really trusting Terry McLaurin in your fantasy lineup coming back off of a second hamstring injury right into your playoff roster? No. I do not. It was the first definitive trick that we got for our trick or treat week 9 here. The Chicago Bears all had a bunch of guys missing the Wednesday practice. We had Rome Odunze missing with a heel injury. DJ Moore with the same hip and groin injury that had him questionable last week that he played through. Luther Burden still out going through the concussion protocol. And then DeAndre Swift missed on Wednesday. He had been limited and questionable all last week. Coming into the game. Oh, sorry, excuse me, nose itches. We got the pollen going. DeAndre Swift was limited and questionable last week as well with this injury, and now he is missing Wednesday. So this whole Bears team, just keep an eye on it. From what I was reading from, like I said, Jeff Mueller, my number one go-to on Twitter for injury updates. He said with the Rome Odunze heel injury, usually heel injuries are pain management. So if Rome can play through the pain, he will. I do expect him to, unless something gets aggravated here in practice this week. But with him resting on Wednesday, we'll see how he responds to a practice on Thursday here. With DJ Moore, I do expect him to play as well. And Luther Burden, hands in the air, not sure. Sometimes we see these guys come back the same week, but most of the time we see them miss at least 1 week. So Luther Burden may be on schedule to miss, which kind of just boosts up some of the targets for these other guys. I know Burden's not getting the most targets, but it's just one less person out there running routes, which opens things up for other people. A little bit of a surprise here. Ramondre Stevenson missed practice on Wednesday as well with a toe injury. And normally, like I said, a veteran missing a Wednesday practice isn't the biggest red flag, but the Pats ran out and grabbed D'Ernest Johnson to their practice squad. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. D'Ernest Johnson is someone we've seen in the league, bounce team to team and be a plug and play type running back. So we could see it again here in New England if Stevenson is not able to go. So keep an eye on today, tomorrow, and Saturday for Stevenson's practice reports. Honestly, Travion Henderson. I feel like there's just so much of this news just correlates with my start sits of the week. So I'm going to be talking about Henderson a little bit later. Maybe not. Who knows? Isaiah Pacheco has an MCL injury. So he is labeled right now week to week, which, that means he's at least missing this week. And I would expect at least like 3 to 4 weeks, honestly, with this type of knee injury. I know Pacheco is kind of a maniac and would love to get out there. He came back last year off of a broken leg. So we know as soon as he's good to go, Pacheco will be out there. But for the time being, both Hunt and Brashard Smith get a bump in value here. But I know everybody in the world is enamored with Brashard Smith. I still think he's just a gadgety type guy. They're starting to get him involved more in a traditional running back role. But I think for week 9 in particular, the only guy that you can trust out of these two is going to be Kareem Hunt. If you want to bank on a big boom out of nowhere week, you can go ahead and roll with Brashard Smith. But Hunt he's been getting the value touches before Pacheco got hurt. Why would that change now? It wouldn't. I think we're just going to see 50-50 out of Hunt and Smith. And like I said, Hunt's going to get the goal line red zone work as he has been. So value touches will stick with Hunt here. Joe Flacco, this one has me a little bit sweaty too. His status right now is at risk for the Sunday game. He's dealing with a little bit of an AC injury. in his shoulder. It would be such a cruel joke for me and everyone to be buying back into the Bengals, like we never left Jamar Chase, but we were leaving T Higgins and Chase Brown for dead out there. And now I was fully bought back in. I said I'm starting Chase Brown, and it would just be such a cruel joke for us to come in and Flacco's out and Chase Brown and T Higgins go back to being unusable. And I mean, that would be the case if we get Jake Browning in there this Sunday. That's exactly the case. You go back to Jamar Chase, and that's it on the Bengals. You can go ahead and take your shot on a Chase Brown, take your shot on a T Higgins, but I wouldn't trust it with Jake Browning out there. Another one that we're going to be monitoring closely, and I think it's going to be a tough decision all the way up until Sunday for them and for Joe Flacco. So keep an eye out there. I got a couple other guys here. Ricky Pearsall still not practicing. He was also dealing with a PCL injury. Still no timetable on his return. He was on the Tuesday show for a trade target. If you are sitting up top the leaderboard right now and you can look forward, I think that Pearsall, when he does come back, especially if it's coinciding with Purdy getting back into a groove, I think Pearsall is going to be good down the stretch, but obviously he has to see the field first. So still waiting on that. Josh Downs for the Indianapolis Colts missed his Wednesday practice with a hip injury as well. He's been kind of banged up. So I'm taking a quick peek here at Alec Pierce to just keeping an eye on the status of Josh Downs. Honestly, Pierce has been getting the usage. He's been running the routes. He's been getting the snaps, even with Downs active. So I think that you just get more confidence in starting an Alec Pierce if Josh Downs does miss time. And then Brock Bowers, he's back, baby. Everybody that waited and waited and waited and waited are going to be rewarded here. Yes, Vegas is ugly. Yes, Geno Smith is looking terrible. But I think that the whole issue that we've been having is this offense was supposed to run through Brock Bowers. No Brock Bowers, no offensive game plan. No offensive game plan, no success. So Brock Bowers is back. I think we're going to see this offense start to click a little bit more. Obviously, first week back, it might be a little bit of a slow roll, but you have to plug Brock Bowers back in immediately. You're not sitting around waiting on a guy like Brock Bowers to show you something. You know he can do it every single snap, every single game. So Brock Bowers is back. Congratulations if you were able to buy low on his injury, or if you held on and you needed him. Welcome back. You're playing fantasy football again. But that's all the news that I had. If I did miss anything, feel free to throw it in the chat. Feel free to comment on the video. Like the video while you're at it. That's all I had for the news. Going to go ahead and jump over to the start sits here soon. But first, just going to talk about Fast Draft as always. I didn't get a chance. It's been a little bit of a busy week, holiday weeks, and just honestly, life in general. I didn't get a chance to do my Flex 6 Frenzy draft, so I don't get to show you guys who to avoid for your DFS. But we actually got a promo going on with Fast Draft right now. If you go over to Fast Draft and you enter the Quick 6 Super Slam and you pick a Tennessee Titan in your lineup, cough, cough, DK, cough, cough, Tyjae Spears, maybe even a Tony Pollard slip in there, you get a $10 bonus. So it's pretty much a free roll in your Quick 6 Super Slam. So go ahead and jump over into Fast Draft, get your Quick 6 Super Slam in there. And like I said, you get a free $10, you get a $10 bonus play if you pick a Tennessee Titan in your lineup. And I mean, it's got to click at some point for Tennessee, right? I mean, there's some high upside wide receivers. It's not the craziest thing that you can do to throw in a DK and Ayamanor. Like I said, even a Tyjae Spears, he had a good fan. He got the touchdown last week. So go over to Fast Draft, use code JOwensFF for your first deposit to get a $50 deposit match. Get in the Quick 6 Super Slam, jump in the Flex 6 Frenzy drafts. I always have a blast with those. And to talk a little bit more about the Quick 6 Super Slam, let's go ahead and pass it over to the podfather.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. and we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick Six Super Slam. The Quick Six Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
Exactly like I said with the Quick Six Super Slam, you don't even have to do the drafts. You just pick your 6 favorite guys and go throw in a Tennessee Titan. Get two Quick Six Super Slams out there. Double your chances for a fun DFS weekend. Like I said, use code J Owens FF for a $50 deposit match. But let's jump right into our starts and sits of the week. I love doing this segment. It's like I said, this is my favorite show of the week. A1, good morning. Good morning. How are we doing? Welcome in. We're ready for spooky season. I hope you guys are ready over there to go trick-or-treating tomorrow. I hope everyone has good weather for tomorrow, because I know it's getting chilly down here in Florida, but that makes it better. That makes these long sleeve costumes that the kids have much more palatable. You don't have to send them out there sweating and put fans on them. So I appreciate it down here in Florida to finally get a little bit of fall weather. Like I said, dipped below 60 degrees, and that was nice. But going to go ahead and jump into the start sits. As always, guys, throw your questions out there. It can be start sit questions. It can be trade questions. It can be waiver wire questions. It can be any type of question. We even had some parlay talk earlier. Like, we're just covering everything today. I love it. I love it. And look at that. Tommy, right on cue. Appreciate you, Tommy. Good morning. Would you trade Rashee Rice and Jaylen Warren for CMC and Njoku PPR? Ooh, I do like Jaylen Warren. I do like Rashee Rice, but I like CMC a lot more. I think you're getting the best player in that. I think Njoku still has, especially in PPR, some PPR viability. So if you do need a tight end to plug and play, I'm fine with that. If you have wide receiver depth, I'm even more fine with that, because you're giving up Rice, who, I mean, dude's looking like a wide receiver 1 for sure. But CMC he had the down week. So if you can buy off of that, I most certainly would. As soon as Purdy gets back, I think this offense is just going to start clicking even more than they already have. Brian Thomas on the bench, so not the most consistent depth back there. You got targets at least with Brian Thomas, and maybe a trade. I don't know. Goddard as your tight end. I feel like you don't have to make the move with Goddard as your tight end. If you really want CMC, like I said, he's the clear best player in this trade. So if you really want the running back help, it's hard to buy CMC. So if you got the opportunity, it's tough to say no to that. So yeah, I personally, I probably would. I would take that risk just because CMC's CMC. I mean, dude's been averaging like 30 opportunities a game outside of last week. And like I said, this offense is going to get back on track once Purdy comes back. But I gotta say, I do like Rashee Rice and Jaylen Warren both down the stretch here. But again, CMC is the best player in the trade, so that's usually the side that I will lean to. But I like the trade. I think it's a fair one, honestly. For my QB start, I apologize, guys. I don't got the graphics in the top left. But for my QB start of the week, it is going to be QB start. I'm gonna do it like this. Jared Goff. There we go. QB start is going to be Jared Goff. Right now, he is ranked as the QB 14. I have him in my top 12 QBs this week, and I get it. Goff doesn't always have to do it. He isn't always the one that has to be throwing the ball for Detroit to look explosive on offense. He's very prone to disappearing behind the Gibbs-Monty stack. But with the Lions coming out of the bye against the Minnesota Vikings, the division rival, I think we're going to see a statement game here out of Detroit. And honestly, with a whole week of bye prep, we're going to see some crazy shit out of the Detroit Lions. And I think that it's going to be some Waymo deep shots. We're going to see Amon-Ra get at least one tutty here as usual. And I think that we're going to see Jared Goff just kind of get back into his groove here. And it's not like the only issue with Jared Goff this year has been the pass attempts, the volume. Because when he throws the ball, he's efficient as hell. Like easily one of the most efficient quarterbacks out there. He's QB6 in yards per attempt. He's QB7 in adjusted yards per attempt, which factors in like down and distance and touchdowns and all that stuff. And he's right now he's just mind-blowing accuracy here. He is top 7 in all completion percentages outside of the deep ball completion percentage, which any Jameson Williams owner knows. He has not been able to connect on the deep ball this year, but it's not like that's been an issue in the past. So I think we could see a little bit of reversion back to the mean here and that one. But I mean, QB1 in true completion percentage, QB1 in clean pocket percentage, and QB1 in blitzed completion percentage. Like, that's QB1 in 3 different completion percentage categories. That's like, he is so efficient when he throws the ball, and he has so many weapons around him that he just needs the pass attempts. And like I'm saying, I think we see that here on Sunday. We see it against the Minnesota Vikings coming out of the bye. We're going to see some fun Detroit Lions football at home. So get ready for that. Start Jared Goff. I know he's just outside of your top 12 QBs on the consensus rankings. He's inside the top 12 for me. There's some guys that I'm bumping down here, and one of them is going to be this next guy here. It's going to be sit Jordan Love. I am sitting Jordan Love right now. Actually, it looks like we got a question here. Dave Flynn, welcome in. Thank you for joining us here on Wake and Take. Who would I start at RB2? You got Kamara there right now. Other options are Monangai or Brashard Smith. You got Judkins on bye and Chase Brown at RB1 this week. That's a little bit of a toughie. If you're gunning for upside, if you need to have some crazy upside, I would go with Brashard Smith. He should be getting more opportunity here with Pacheco missing time. It's a high over-under total in Buffalo, so we should see a lot of offense out of both teams in that game. I would go with Brashard Smith over Alvin Kamara if you're looking for upside. If you're looking for just a consistent floor. Actually, I don't even know if I'm talking about Kamara a little bit later. Let's see here. I might have to change that, but right now I still have Kamara in my median projection rankings. I still have Kamara over Brashard Smith. But like I said, if you need upside, if you need someone that can get you a touchdown and some big points, I would be starting Smith over Kamara. If you just need a safe floor of like 6-7 points, I would go with Kamara. That's where I'm at right now. So like I said, if you need the upside, go Smith. But jumping back over to the starts and sits, I got for my QB sit Jordan Love, and I get it, guys. This bit me in the ass last week. I didn't get to do the Thursday show last week, but I made a post on Sunday, and I said to sit Jordan Love, and what did he do? He goes out there, throws 360 and 3 touchdowns to go ahead and be the QB1 overall on the week. So yes, I get it. Not my best call, but I still think that he's not a consistent fantasy quarterback. That was the best performance, one of the best performances of Jordan Love's career on Sunday against the Pittsburgh defense. So I think we see a little bit of a slower paced game on Sunday. It's Green Bay is the number 29 team in pace of play, and they're going up against Carolina, who is the 25th ranked team in pace of play. So it's 2 slow offenses that like to run through the ground game. So I got a feeling that it's going to be a very slow, grindy defensive type of game here out of Green Bay. Unless Carolina jumps on Green Bay early, I just do not feel like we see fireworks in this game. And that's why I'm calling for a sit on Jordan Love here. Honestly, Carolina's done a decent job of holding pocket passers in check. They get beat by touchdowns. And that's obviously, as we've seen, Jordan Love can have 3 touchdown games, but a lot of the teams that did have those 3 touchdowns are teams that operate solely out of the air. Dak had a solid game. Dak and Tua both had 3 touchdown games against them. And like I said, those are really teams that operate more in the air than they do on the ground. So I'm not too worried about it. Some of the guys that Carolina has kept in check is Michael Penix, pocket passer, similar to Jordan Love. Trevor Lawrence, pocket passer, similar to Jordan Love. Drake May, he got the rushing touchdown when he played against Carolina, so his stats were good, but his passing stats were down compared to what we're used to seeing out of him. So I think that that's something we can expect here for Jordan Love, is a little bit of a quieter passing game, and he's not gonna run the ball like a Josh Allen, like a Drake May, like we've seen out of those 2 guys. So it's really gonna come down to, does Jordan Love throw touchdowns, or is it Josh Jacobs grinding out a couple on the ground that we see here. And just like I said, with the pace of play between these two teams, I'm banking on the under here in Green Bay, especially with the banged up Bryce Young. I got a feeling that we see a quiet, grindy game. Going over to the running backs, I got my running back start, and this one feels gross. My running back start it's going to be Zach Charbonnet. We got Zach Charbonnet as the running back start of the week. Right now, consensus running back 28. He is my running back 21. He is, by all intents and purposes, an RB3 for fantasy football. But this week I have him in my top 24. I have him as a damn near must start. I haven't been able to get a read on these running backs in Seattle at all season. It's been a 50-50 split for everything. For everything, it's been 50-50 split. And I just think we get more of that this week. But I've seen enough. I know who the goal line back is. I know who the red zone back is. That's Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet is getting, just like Kareem Hunt is in Kansas City, Charbonnet is getting the value touches in Seattle. And honestly, Washington is a very easy matchup for running backs. And so it does sound counterintuitive to be going with the very inefficient, less explosive running back out of Seattle in a good matchup. But I just think that we're going to see the touchdowns come from Charbonnet. Like, that's just the way it's been going all year. And I think that continues here. Washington's been getting, like I said, they've been middle of the pack for the most part, but lately they have been getting gashed by the running backs. We just saw Kareem Hunt, who is very similar to Zach Charbonnet in usage this year, get 2 touchdowns. And Washington is giving up the 15th most fantasy points to running backs, and a lot of that has come in the red zone. So you're asking whose specialty is it in Seattle for red zone touchdowns? That's Zach Charbonnet all day. And I get it. It's not, this isn't a fun one. He's running back 35 in terms of opportunity share, and all of the efficiency stats are literally disgusting to look at over on Player Profiler. But what I care about is he's running back 10 in red zone touches. That's from a raw perspective. It's not even like the red zone touch percentage. It's the red zone touches total. He is the running back 10, and that's with the bye week. That's with splitting 50-50 with Kenneth Walker. So I can't believe I'm here, but I'm saying to start Zach Charbonnet this week as a must start. Jamie, would I sell Gadsden for a 2027 later first round rookie pick? You got 18 shares of him and looking to cash big in a few leagues since you got him late 4th or off a free waiver wire. Honestly, I think that's fair value. If it's tight end premium, I would maybe try to squeeze a little bit more, like an extra 3rd or 4th rounder out of that. And the fact that it's 2027. The fact that it's 2027 kind of makes me want to say, if you don't need Gadsden, if you want to cash in and you have a usable tight end, go for it, because we still have all of 2026 to play. The team that you're getting the first from, yeah, they might look like a juggernaut now, but we don't know how injuries go. I mean, Neighbors gone, Joe Burrow gone. There's so many things that can happen in 2026 that can turn that projected late first into an early first. So, if you want to go ahead and take that gamble, you don't need Gadsden. And like you said, it's not like you're selling off your one share of Gadsden. Yeah, you got Laporta, Strange, and Arroyo. So yeah, I would go ahead and do that. Cash in while the iron's hot. I think that Gadsden is going to be here to stay for a while, but at the same time, he's a late round rookie tight end. So you never know. These guys can flash and then disappear. Just like that, with no draft capital behind them. Even with draft capital, tight ends disappear off the face of the earth. So go ahead, cash in, get your first rounder where you can. Like I said, maybe try to squeeze a little bit extra if you can. If you can't, first rounder's a first rounder. I'll take that all day. So I like that for you there. We just talked about him, but going back to my start sits, I got my running back sit, and it's going to be It's going to be Alvin Kamara. I said to start him if he over Brashard Smith as a floor play. I don't even know. It doesn't feel good right now at all. Kamara is the consensus RB25. That's borderline RB2. I don't see how that ranking makes sense. It's not even like he's getting enough volume to justify that by itself. He's my RB32 right now, and he might actually bump lower as I tweak the rankings through today and the weekend. But it's just, this isn't the Alvin Kamara usage that we know. Even on the, like, forget the ground game work, forget the running work. Like, yes, that is a little bit of a surprise. The surprise is truly how underutilized he's being in the passing game. Alvin Kamara is someone we have never seen under an 18% target share over an entire year. 18% has been his lowest. That was his floor before 2025. Right now, he is sitting at 12%, 11.9% target share. Inexcusable, honestly, out of New Orleans. I get it. They want to push the ball to the boundaries and run the Kellen Moore offense, and I guess that doesn't run through Alvin Kamara for some reason. They're paying him a ton of money, and we're just seeing a crazy low usage. We might see more QB dump offs here to Kamara with Shuck coming in over Rattler, but that's not a guarantee. That's not something that I'm banking on, especially in the first start for Shuck here, especially against the LA Rams, who are a good defense. And guess what their specialty at shutting people down is? At the running back position. We've seen them shut down ETN. We've seen them shut down just so many running backs. They are just a hair behind Cleveland in terms of the best defense against running backs in fantasy football. They are coming off their bye. They know what to game plan for. It's not, oh, let's make sure that Tyler Shuck doesn't beat us. No. The game plan is make sure that Alvin Kamara doesn't beat you, because Alvin Kamara is still the best player on this team, and he's just not being used like it. So he's just, Alvin Kamara is being hurt by play calling. He's being hurt by quarterback play, and he's being hurt by his offensive line. On Player Profiler, they do run block rating, where they look at each individual running back and the level of blocking and like the run blocking success on their running rush attempts. And Alvin Kamara is RB 43 in that run block rating. And normally we get some Alvin Kamara magic. He's got the crazy balance. He's got the wiggle. He's got the jiggle. He's got the magic going on. And we haven't seen it. We haven't, this is just it's such an anomaly year out of Alvin Kamara. And it might be the age. It might be just like the cliff is hitting Alvin Kamara here. But RB 29 in juke rate, RB 37 in yards created per touch. It's just, every efficiency stat is gross here. Running back 30 in yards per reception, which that's his specialty. He is like I said, he's got the wiggle and the magic in space, and we're just not seeing it this year. RB 30 in yards per reception, and then RB 50 in true yards per carry. It's just been an ugly year for Alvin Kamara, and not even the volume. Like I said, the volume isn't even where you would expect it to give him a safe, confident floor. There's no floor, and against the LA Rams, there's no ceiling here either. So I'm going to go back to Dave Flynn here. I talked myself right out of it. I'm going to have to drop Kamara even lower in my rankings, and I would put Brashard Smith over him now, with Brashard looking like he's going to be getting more volume. So just sit Alvin Kamara as much as you possibly can. The ugly season is going to continue to get uglier here, unless we get a Halloween surprise out of Kamara. But that's where I'm at with Alvin Kamara in general on the season. Like he's unusable on a weekly basis. Jumping over to the wide receivers, I got my wide receiver start, and it's going to be from a team that I talked about earlier. It's going to be a situation that I talked about earlier. My wide receiver start is Alec Pierce for the Indianapolis Colts. Josh Downs being on the injury report, missing a Wednesday practice with a hip injury, only boosts this. Like, even if Downs starts, I'm still confident in starting Alec Pierce. The usage, the routes, the targets, the snaps have all been just everything's been kind of bubbling under the surface like a nice witch's cauldron. Been bubbling down there, and he's just waiting to have the big blow up. And I think that we get it this week in a very plus matchup against Pittsburgh. Like I said, even the targets, he's had 19 targets in the past 3 games, and that's including 10 targets in the one game that Josh Downs missed. So if we see Josh Downs miss, this is just an all-time smash the lizard button on Alec Pierce. Pierce. Gotta go with Pierce here. And like I said, I know that Alec Pierce is more of a dart throw type wide receiver. Typically, he's the deep ball specialist. He is the guy that isn't going to be reliable, but I think we're going to see some reliability here. We've seen, like I said, 19 targets in 3 games is nice. That's just more shots to hit the big lotto, big throw here. So we're going to go ahead and see a lot of deep passes here. And I mean, Pittsburgh just got torched on Sunday Night Football in the air by Jordan Love. Like I said, he had 360 something yards, 3 touchdowns for Jordan Love. And I think that Danny Dimes can repeat that here. Pittsburgh is giving up the 5th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So there's going to be plenty to go around for Pittman. There's going to be plenty to go around for Pierce. Don't worry about Tyler Warren. He's going to get his. We just saw Tucker Kraft smash this defense. So all of the wide receivers for Indy are in play this week. Jamie, Pierce, and Pittman are going to eat this week. Absolutely. Like I said, we've seen the deep ball specialists have success against Pittsburgh. We saw Jordan Addison in his first game back catch a deep ball. JSN has beat them deep. Jamar Chase beat them deep. T. Higgins beat them deep. Garrett Wilson beat them deep. The deep ball specialist has been eating against Pittsburgh, and it's no different with Alec Pierce. Wide receiver 2 in HOTTT. A 22.4 HOTTT is absurd, especially for a guy who I think he's at what, 18%? He's at an 18% target share. So it's not even like he's not like, it's not even like it's like, oh, he's at 18% because, or he's at the highest HOTTT because he's not getting targets. The dude's got an 18% target share. Like, I get it. He's missed some games, so it's not really like, and this isn't like the highest pass volume offense, but I mean, 18% target share is good to see for a deep ball specialist here. And I mean, like I said, he's missed games and he's top 10 in raw air yards. He's missed 2 weeks and he's top 10 in raw air yards. That's all teams. That's all players, all wide receivers, just raw air yards. He's top 10 in. So it's always tough to call your shots on the deep ball specialist, but this is the week that Alec Pierce is going to hit. This is the week that he's going to smash. And the dude is like 22% rostered on Sleeper right now. So you can still go scoop him and plug him directly into your roster this week, and he's going to smash for you there. The J-Works 07, Kincaid or Loveland. Let me check my rankings real quick because that one's close. That one is close here. Apologies for the delay here. I'm going to come back to you, J-Works. Let me take a look here while that loads for me here. We got Adams and Olave or CD and DJ Moore. I got to go CD and DJ Moore. CD is the best player out of all of these 4 here. I know that Olave is better than DJ Moore right now. I can't give up on DJ Moore yet, no matter how many things tell me to do it. But I think I got to go CD just because, I mean, he's got wide receiver 1 overall rest of season in his range of outcomes. And Olave, we don't know what he's going to look like with Shuck. We don't know if Olave is going to get traded. We don't know what's going to happen in New Orleans. So I'm going to have to go with the CD side. DJ Moore has been a perfectly fine floor, just like Olave has been a perfectly fine floor. So I think you're getting 2 floor plays. And then it's pretty much just Adams versus CD. And I'm going to take CD in that situation every time, especially with Puka Nacua coming back. Jumping back here to J-Works. Sorry for the delay there. Had to pull up my my own rankings. Honestly, I got Kincaid and Loveland pretty close, but with Buffalo going up against Kansas City, I think we're going to have to see a lot more passing than we did last week out of Buffalo. And that's where Kincaid thrives. I know we saw the low targets last week, but that's just because they didn't have to throw the ball. When they do have to throw, Kincaid is very much a part of that game plan. So I'm going to go with Kincaid here. I think Colston is a upside swing in a plus matchup, in the number 1 plus matchup, but I still think Kincaid just has the overall floor ceiling combo that I want to see there. Michael, you just got that trade where you got CD and Moore. I want to know if you fucked up your new starters will be CD, Bijan, JT, Brees, AJ Brown, and Moore. What? How many people are in this league? Holy cow! But no, I like that. I like that for you. I think getting the number 1 player is kind of just where you got to go, especially when the ancillary pieces like the DJ Moore and Chris Olave are kind of negligent. That's a 12-man league. Who did you who did you pay off? Because you should not have those that level of guys. That's crazy. Congrats. I'm assuming you bought low on an AJ Brown or something like that, but congrats. That's a really nice looking roster. Good morning, Paul. Welcome back. Love to see you in the chat again. We got start Bo Nix or Penix Bo Nix. Bo Nix all day. Let me find where just the gap that I got here in my rankings. Oop, not that. I got Bo Nix. Yeah. Bo Nix is a little bit of a downer for me going up against Houston. He is my QB 15 right now. But with Penix, it's not like the matchup is any better. Penix is outside, like just honestly not even in starter range for me, down at like in the QB 20s range. So definitely starting Nix, you got more upside there, especially with the rushing. It's tough to throw on Houston. It's tough to get a lot going against Houston, but Nix has the rushing upside that Penix just doesn't. So that's where I'm going there. Yeah, Michael, your team is insane. That's insane. Congrats on a cakewalk to the playoffs there for you. But bouncing back over to my list here, I got my wide receiver sit, and it's going to be, I feel kind of like a damn dirty liar for even putting his name in here after everything I tell you guys on a weekly basis. But I'm a little bit worried about Keenan Allen, and honestly, we could throw Quentin Johnston into the mix here. I've always been saying you got to start off 4 of the pass catchers for the Chargers, where like it's just kind of a roulette wheel. But we saw a strangely low snap share out of Keenan Allen last week. It was a 25% snap share. He still ran above 60% of the routes, which he's been doing consistently. That's just kind of been the sweet spot for Keenan Allen, has been about like 60 to 80% of the routes run. So the routes percentage wasn't concerning, but the snap share percentage was. I got a feeling that it's similar to the Quentin Johnston scare from last week, where the score was just so out of hand. They wanted to see Trey. Why can't I think of his last name right now? Oh my God, I'm having an absolute brain fart here. They wanted to see other people, and it was really the run game that was jiving the most for the Chargers. So I think that's why they want to see it. Trey Harris, holy brain fart. Literally, I was like, I was trying to say Trey Mason. I'm like, no, that's not, get out of here. But Trey Harris, they wanted to see Trey Harris get some work out there. So I think that Keenan, if he's not needed, they're not going to run him out there, just because, I mean, he is the vet. He is out there when he's needed. And like I said, over 60% of the routes run. I'm not overly concerned about that snap share dip. It is something that I'm going to keep an eye on. It's not a red flag, but it's definitely a yellow flag where it's like, let's watch here. And then Tennessee's been, honestly, I know that they just sold off McCreary and they sold off Brownlee earlier in the season, but I still think that Tennessee has kept possession wide receivers in check for the most part. And that's what Keenan Allen is. That's his specialty. He's a possession wide receiver. They've shut down guys like Jacoby Myers. They've shut down a whole bunch, like Stephon Diggs had a quiet game against Tennessee. Like, really, the guys that get the work done are more of the big play guys and like the slot wide receivers. These outside possession guys like Keenan Allen this year aren't really having much success against Tennessee. Like I said, that could be totally thrown out the window with McCreary going to the Rams. We'll see here, but it's just something to be a little bit hesitant about. And also the fact that, will the Chargers need to throw a bunch? Will the Chargers need to have 35 plus pass attempts out of Herbert? Or are we going to see a repeat from Thursday Night Football last week, where Herbert only throws the ball 25 times? If that's the case, I don't like Keenan Allen in those games. I don't like banking on Keenan in a low volume game. I think that Quentin Johnston goes above Keenan Allen in these types of games. And I think that obviously Gadsden and McConkey are the benefactors for those, because they are the red zone options. They are the most reliable options. So if anyone's going to have success here, I think we're going to see Gadsden. I think we're going to see McConkey have success. And if I had to call between Keenan and Quentin Johnston, I would start Quentin Johnston over Keenan Allen this week. And that's why Allen makes it to my sit category on the week. We got the J Works here. You were offered a trade Dak for Goff and Olave in a single quarterback league. If you need wide receiver help, I got no problem with that. Dak has obviously been throwing the ball at a crazy level, and he's going to just be a consistently like top 8 quarterback. But Goff can have those games too. Obviously, Goff will disappear. But if you need a wide receiver, if you need someone to plug in now, that's fine. I don't think it's really like Olave's not moving the needle. I'm not like, oh my God, you gotta accept that. But if you need someone with a floor to plug in immediately, I would go ahead and do it. But if you don't, stick with Dak, ride out that offense. I mean, every single week it's a shootout. They're literally Dallas is, what is it, 7-1 in hitting their overs. The only time they didn't hit the over was week 1 against Philadelphia. And if you guys remember, that was the lightning delay game that both teams came out. Just 1 second, sorry. Apologies for that. We had a package delivered and the dog did not like that. Did not like anyone coming up. So sorry about the barking in the background. But back to the J-Works question here. You were offered Dak for Goff and Olave. I would stick with Dak unless like I said, you're completely desperate for a plug-in now, save my team with a floor wide receiver in Olave. So stick with Dak, stick with the upside. Dallas is, like I said, 7-1 in terms of hitting the over. And the only time they didn't was in the lightning delay week 1 game against Philadelphia. So the defense is just so easy to prey on that Dak has to throw to keep them in games. And even in like, I get it, he had the down week last week, but I'm sticking with Dak. I'm sticking with this, sticking with the recipe for fantasy points of bad defense, good offense. Paul, we got a question here. Risk it with Shaheed or start Malik Washington tonight, back up as mountain guy if Shaheed won't play. I would risk it with Shaheed, especially if you do have a backup option. I think mountain guy is a fine backup option. And I don't trust a guy like Malik Washington, honestly. Like it's so hard to trust him. If he doesn't catch a touchdown, you're feeling pretty bad about starting him. And I think Shaheed is a focal point of the Saints offense. So if he's out there, I'm running with Shaheed. And Jamie, did I hear my ex-wife barking in the background? Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one. No, that's just that's my boy Finn. My boy Finn protecting the house from the Amazon driver who was here on a daily basis. We got Happy Hudson. Hey, good morning, Happy. Good to see you in here. Good to see you. You're hinging on if Flacco starts, but would you start Pierce or Franklin over T. Higgins? It fully depends on Flacco, like you're saying here. If it's Jake Browning out there, I am benching T. Higgins, and I would go with Pierce over Franklin. The matchup is just too good for Alec Pierce. It feels kind of like a just like clickbaity type thing to say, but I fully believe in Alec Pierce this week. I do love what I'm seeing out of Troy Franklin, but again, the matchup just leans more towards running the ball in Houston, and I think we see just a big time fantasy performance out of in Pittsburgh Indy game. So I'm going to ride with Pierce there over Higgins. If it's Jake Browning, if it's T. Higgins, or if it's Joe Flacco, even slightly injured, I'm sticking with Joe Flacco. It just means he's going to get the ball out of his hands even quicker to avoid getting hit. So Higgins if Flacco, Pierce then Franklin. If you need floor, I would say go ahead and you can go Franklin over Pierce if you just want to play it like ultra safe. But even that, like I feel like the floor of Franklin's not much different than the floor of Pierce. So Higgins with Flacco, Pierce, Franklin for sure. I'm going to be moving on to the tight ends position here from my list. And my tight end sit of the week is another guy that we've been talking about quite a bit today. A lot of questions on this guy coming from you guys. So, that's not supposed to say tight end sit. It's supposed to say tight end start. Colston Loveland. Ignore that. There we go. Colston Loveland. Can I delete? I will delete that comment. So to avoid confusion. Tight end start of the week is Colston Loveland. He is the consensus tight end 13, and I got him a little bit higher than that. Honestly, this is more of an upside swing play. There wasn't a whole lot of, with the tight end position, there hasn't been a whole lot of situations where like guys are just like egregiously ranked. This is always going to be more of an upside call from me here on the tight end start of the week. Last week it was I was saying to start Gadsden. Loved Gadsden last week, and he delivered on Thursday Night Football. And I'm back once again with a rookie tight end here with Colston Loveland. I don't know if it's Flacco on the other end. So again, we're not sure if we're going to get a shootout situation here, because if it's not Flacco, I don't trust Browning to facilitate a shootout. But it does not matter in terms of the Cincinnati defense. You start your tight ends against Cincinnati. They have been giving up the most fantasy points of any team against the tight end position, and there's always these types of matchups every single year where it does not matter what the other side looks like. You start the tight end. You start the tight end, you start the tight end, you start the tight end, and it's no different here. We saw last week without Cole Kmet, the snaps and the routes were at an all-time high this year for Loveland. He got 5 targets. They were low targets. They were not, fantasy-friendly targets, but outside of those, he is still tight end 4 in terms of deep targets and tight end 12 in terms of unrealized air yards. So outside of last week, they were taking deep shots to Loveland. They were kind of running him up the seam a little bit more. And against Cincinnati, we're going to see success with that if they continue to do it. So I get it. The season-long 9.8% target share looks gross. The 54% target route participation looks gross. But that is also to do with the fact that Cole Kmet was healthy. Loveland was not at the beginning of the season. We've been seeing the shift here, especially out of the bye, especially with Cole Kmet getting hurt. Loveland is the tight end 1, and there's so many injuries from the wide receivers here. We might be without Luther Burden. We got Odunze and DJ Moore both injured and missing practice on Wednesday. So everything is kind of leading up to Loveland being a big part of the game plan, especially in such a plus matchup here. If you want the big upside swing, I think Loveland is the way to go. If you're looking for a home run hit at the tight end position, you can't bank on a floor too much because we've seen the floor be non-existent with Loveland. So I'm not going to say that this is an absolute guaranteed floor play and a ceiling play. This is an absolute ceiling play, and that's why I'm leaning on it because I think Loveland can sneak into the end zone. He can sneak into the top 6 tight ends on the week against Cincinnati here. And that's why I'm going with another rookie tight end. We see these rookies; they always take time to get back. And I mean, he's a first round pick for a reason. And I think we're going to see why against Cincinnati here. The J works. Flipping back over to your trade here, Dak. If you could swap out Waddle for Olave, I would absolutely do that. Waddle is going to be a stud for the rest of the season, just because he's all they have left. I get it. Tua's been bad. I get it. This team can go ahead and just completely finish circling the drain, but there's going to be 2 things consistent with the Miami Dolphins, no matter what is happening, and it is Waddle and Achane getting targets and opportunities. And so if you can get Waddle, that's an absolute smash. I would drop down from Dak to Goff in a single quarterback league if I could go ahead and get Waddle for that. That's easy money for me right there. My tight end sit of the week, another one that you guys have been asking about a little bit. It's going to be Hunter Henry for the New England Patriots. This one, like I said, there wasn't any glaring obvious sits for me in the tight ends this week when looking at the consensus rankings. Hunter Henry is down there at tight end 16 for consensus. He's more in here because he's a name that people are willing to start on a weekly basis because he has had big games. He has had years where he is the number 1 target. Even last year with Drake May at quarterback, he was the number 1 target, but that has shifted. Drake May has evolved in his quarterback journey here, and he is a distributor of the ball now. It does not matter what the name on the jersey is. If you are open, Drake May will get you the ball. And that just has led to some inconsistent fantasy points here for all pass catchers. We've seen Booty blow up. We've seen Booty disappear. We've seen Diggs blow up. We've seen Diggs disappear. We've seen Hunter Henry blow up. And as of late, we have seen Hunter Henry somewhat disappear, especially last week. And right now, the number 1 defense against tight ends this year is Atlanta. The safety play out of Atlanta is insane. The linebacker play and the pass rush do not allow for long developing plays. So it's really, it really has to be designed first read targets that get your tight end involved and get your wide receivers involved against Atlanta. And I can tell you a crazy stat that is just kind of mind boggling to me. And I don't even know how this is physically possible with a guy like Hunter Henry, but he has 0 designed first read targets, 0 first read targets on the season. And that's, like I said, I don't understand how that's even a possibility for a guy like Hunter Henry, who has always been a consistent guy. You would think that there would be some plays here with Hunter Henry being a part of the game plan, but that's what's out there on Player Profiler is a 0% designed first read target percentage, 0 targets at all that are first read. So Hunter Henry definitely a sit. Like I said, he's tight end 16 on the consensus, so there's not really many people out there saying to start him. But I did see questions earlier about, do I go with Hunter Henry? You do not. I would go with easily a Loveland. I'm going with guys behind him that I would start over a Hunter Henry in the consensus rankings. I would go with honestly an AJ Barner. I would go with a Jonnu Smith with Pat Fryermuth looking beat up. If I'm looking for big upside, I'd even go Isaiah Likely tonight over a Hunter Henry play here. I just don't see the upside. I don't see the floor this week. I'm avoiding Hunter Henry in week 9. Defense and special teams. My defense starter of the week. Again, not anything crazy in the defensive rankings this week. There aren't a lot of teams where I'm feeling they're egregiously ranked, but my defense start of the week is going to be the Chicago Bears. It's kind of weird to say that because they're usually a target for us here, but right now they are ranked as the consensus defense and special teams number 12. And again, we might see Jake Browning, maybe not as the starter. Maybe Flacco does get the start. But all it takes is he's already got an injury. All it takes is one hit, one QB hit. It doesn't even have to be a sack, one QB hit, one something, one throw that just feels wrong for Flacco. And we can see Jake Browning in there. And as soon as you see Jake Browning, any defense is going to look like a bunch of great white sharks out there with blood in the water with Jake Browning. We've seen just turnover after turnover. We've seen just an insane amount and just no offense on the flip side once Jake Browning gets the ball. So I think that defense 12 is fair because if it is Flacco, obviously there's a huge chance of a shootout and the Chicago defense looks terrible, like a terrible play. But I think for upside's sake, if we see Jake Browning out there, if you need to scoop someone now and they're still out there, go scoop them. And if you maybe do a late pivot if you can later in the week. But right now, I like the Chicago Bears defense because, like I said, we can see Jake Browning out there at any given point. And that's it's a big boom bust play for us here with the Chicago defense. Cool Breeze, good morning. Welcome into the Wake and Take. Welcome back in. Good to see you. Got my last start sit here. We got the defense sit. It's going to be the game tonight. It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I am sitting them this week. They are the consensus defense number 9 right now. And this is another, it feels like another boom busty play, but I feel like at number 9, like you're telling people to start them. And I'm not overly confident in that this week. We've seen Tua randomly turn it on and it's in Miami. And Baltimore is going to be putting up points. So Tua's going to have to respond. Can he? Yes. Will he? I don't know. Yes, the Ravens looked good against Chicago, but I just think that this offense can do a little bit more right now. Achane is my true fear, really. It's not Tua and Tua that's scaring me off. It's Achane who can tear up this Baltimore defense all by himself. So really, if you're starting the Baltimore defense, you're just banking on the Tua from like weeks 4, 5, 6, 7 showing up and just coughing the ball up a million times. But the fact that he's home, the fact that it's a short week and the game plan is not going to be anything crazy, I think we see a lot of Achane, and that does not bode well for this Baltimore defense. And again, I think we see the over get hit. Thursday night's been all about the overs. So I'm a little bit worried about the Baltimore Ravens defense at consensus defense number 9. So you can go ahead and start the Chicago Bears defense over them, Houston defense over them for sure. I'd even start maybe even the San Francisco defense over them, who are all 10, 11, 12 back there. In terms of who I'd feel a little bit more confident in. not burning me. Jay worked. We got Genty or Harvey, 10-man Genty. Harvey had 3 touchdowns. Yes, great, fantastic. He did it on a 29% target opportunity share, snap share. So I am not looking to bank on that for any type of repeat. If we get more of an indicator that he's going to get more opportunities and snaps from this game, excellent. But I'm not banking on that, especially with Janty coming back off of bye, Brock Bowers coming back. I think the Las Vegas offense is going to be revived quite a bit. Yeah. RJ Harvey had a 26% snap share still, and only a 20% route percentage. So that's right in line with the usage we've seen with RJ Harvey all year. He just had the 3 touchdowns to go with it. You can't go away from Janty with that there. Jamie just made that Gadsden trade, so now I only have 17 shares in Dynasty. Hey, congrats on getting the first, though. First round pick is a first round pick. Jay works here. We got Andrews or Loveland. I'm going Loveland for sure in that spot there. I do like Mandrews a little bit more this week, but Isaiah Likely is back, and we saw last season with both Likely and Mandrews out on the field that you're just banking on a touchdown from Andrews. I think right now you get the same type of upside from touchdown upside from Loveland, but you're going to get a much better matchup with Loveland. So I'm going Loveland out of those 2 there for sure. I talked about the Baltimore Ravens. So with that, I'm back. Like I said, I didn't get to do my espresso shot last week because I missed the Thursday show with completely losing my voice, but we're back with the week 9 espresso shot. Got some espresso in here. It's not quite a shot. I go for the quadruple shot of Bustelo. So my espresso shot this week, I talked about him a little bit earlier. I did say that I was going to come back to him. It is Travion Henderson. It's going to be Travion Henderson, top 20 running back this week. Oh, I'm smacking my microphone. Sorry about that for if that was loud. Espresso shot. Week 9. We got Travion Henderson as a top 20 running back this week. I'm calling it now. He had the weirdest, it's been the weirdest season for Henderson where he has not seen the field at all. It's been disgusting usage. Like I said, there was 2 weeks ago we were talking about dropping him because Jennings from the practice squad got pulled up and got 5 carries over Henderson's 2 carries and had the same amount of snaps as Henderson. And then all of a sudden we're here last week and Henderson has half the snaps. He has half the opportunities and he's eaten up the Cleveland Browns top-ranked run defense. Like it made 0 sense. It made 0 sense, and there's not a lot in the. I mean, even against I get it. Like the opportunities were there, and it feels counterintuitive for me to say this after I just said RJ Harvey had the same usage that he's been having. Henderson only had 22% of the snaps. And only 10% of the routes, but he did. It was the opportunities that were important as well. And I think with this Ramondre Stevenson injury, we see a little bit of a hand being forced by. We see Vrabel's hand be forced more into going and leaning into Travion Henderson. It's a decent matchup here. Atlanta just got ate up by Devon Achane, who is a very profile-wise similar player. Like Henderson's very similar to Achane in the fact that they're more of the speed pass catching type guys. So if we see Henderson get more involvement, we see him get involved here. If Ramondre misses, especially, I'm calling that we get a big play here with Henderson into getting a top 20 week here. I think there's going to be a big play that causes it. It's going to be a breakaway touchdown. I don't know if it's going to be consistent work. I don't know if it's going to be predictive and be something that we can bank on in the future. But for this week and this week alone, Travion Henderson, top 20 running back, that is the spicy, piping hot, caffeine-induced espresso shot of week 9. I appreciate you guys as always coming in. I got one more question here. It looks like from Jay Works, last one. Harvey, I didn't even see the comment there, but Harvey Henderson, Franklin, or Brashard Smith for the flex. I know I just went through my full espresso shot saying that. But that's honestly, that's my, as always, I gotta go back and preface I guess it's going to be not a preface since I'm saying it after, but after the fact here, the espresso shot is a very bold take. It is not something that I'm looking at. That is not something that I'm predicting in my median projections. It is very much something that is going to be a big home run swing, and that's why I put Henderson in there. Out of this group here, I would honestly go with Brashard Smith. I think that he's going to see an increase in usage with no Pacheco. And he's got the chance. He's got the profile. He's got the speed. He's got the wheels to get in outside of the red zone. My only fear is that he gets the ball inside the 20 and then it's nothing but Kareem Hunt. But I like the matchup. I like the point total over in Buffalo. So I would go with Brashard Smith out of these four. If you're leaning Harvey or Henderson, I'd go Henderson over Harvey for the fact that, especially if Ramondre is missing more time. If Ramondre misses this week, it's easily Henderson out of Harvey, Henderson, and Franklin. But if you include Brashard Smith in there with the flex, I'm going with Brashard Smith. I think he's got the safer floor and a very similar upside to all of these guys here. But that is all that I got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me on my favorite show of the week. Tomorrow's Halloween. If you're going trick-or-treating, if you're passing out candy, if you're doing anything to celebrate the festivities, I hope you have a wonderful, safe Halloween. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully it's good wherever you guys are. Like I said, it's getting better at Florida, down here in Florida. So I appreciate you guys as always. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video, to the channel. It helps me keep doing what I'm doing here. And as always, follow me on Twitter at JOwens_FF, over on TikTok at JOwensFF. And I will be doing the Throne Room live Sunday Night Football at halftime over on TikTok. Go ahead and catch me over there. I appreciate you guys as always. Have a good rest of the weekend.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.